If you compliment a man on his looks, you've already lost him. I know that sounds crazy. You're probably thinking, what? Men love being told they're attractive. But that's exactly the problem. You're doing what every other woman does, and it's making you completely forgettable. Let me explain something to you. When you tell a guy he's hot or handsome or good looking, he doesn't feel special. He feels like you're reading from a script, like you're saying what you think you're supposed to say. And even if he smiles and says thank you, inside, nothing's happening. No spark, no connection, nothing. Because here's what you don't know. Men get complimented on their looks all the time, from their mom, from their friends trying to hype them up, from random people online. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like white noise. It just disappears. And you know what else? When you compliment his looks, you're actually telling him something about yourself. You're telling him that you're impressed by the same surface level stuff that everyone else notices. You're telling him you're not looking any deeper. And if you want to stand out, if you want to create real attraction, you need to go deeper. But there are 8 specific compliments that do the opposite. These compliments make a man feel something he's not used to feeling. They make him feel seen, really seen, not just looked at. And when a man feels that, that's when attraction starts. That's when he starts paying attention to you in a completely different way. I'm going to give you all 8, and I need you to really listen, because these aren't about making him feel good about himself. These are about making him feel good around you. There's a huge difference. One creates validation that he can get from anyone. The other creates a bond that's specific to you, that only you give him. And that's what makes him want more of you. Number 1, I love how your brain works. Okay, listen. When you say this to a guy, something happens in his head, because nobody says this. Nobody. Women compliment his body, his job, his car, his clothes, his success. But his brain, the way he thinks, the way he processes information and solves problems, never. And men care about this more than you realize, way more. Because guys spend their whole lives trying to figure things out, trying to solve problems, trying to make sense of the world, trying to be smart about things, and most of the time, nobody notices. Nobody cares how he got to the answer. They just care that he did. They care about the result, not the process. But when you say, I love how your brain works, you're telling him you see the process. You see the way he connects dots, the way he looks at things differently, the way his mind moves from point A to point B, and that makes him feel understood in a way he's probably never felt before, especially not from a woman he's attracted to. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're talking to a guy and he explains something to you. Could be anything. How he fixed something that was broken, how he figured out a work problem, how he planned a trip, how he organized something, whatever. Most women would say, oh, that's cool, or you're so smart, or wow, impressive. But if you say, I love how your brain works, like the way you just explained that, I would have never thought of it that way. He's going to remember that. He's going to replay that moment in his head later. Because you didn't just compliment the result, you complimented him, the real him, the part that actually does the thinking. And here's what happens next. He's going to want to share more with you. He's going to want to show you more of how he thinks, because you made him feel like that part of him is interesting, like it matters, like it's worth paying attention to. I'll tell you something else. When a man feels like his mind is attractive to you, not just his body or his status, he starts to feel like you're different, like you're operating on a different level than other women. Because most women don't care about how he thinks. They care about what he has, what he does, how he looks. But you care about the stuff that's actually unique to him. That's attraction. Real attraction. The kind that doesn't fade when the newness wears off. Number 2, you make me feel safe. Now, I need you to understand something about men. They don't hear this enough. Actually, they almost never hear it. And when they do, it touches something deep inside them, something primal, something that goes way back to who men are at their core. Because men are wired to protect. I know, we live in 2026 and women don't need protecting and all that. I get it. I'm not saying women are helpless or need a man to survive. That's not what I'm talking about. But Men still have this thing inside them that wants to be a safe space for the people they care about. It's just how we're built. It's in our DNA. And when you tell a man he makes you feel safe, you're not talking about physical safety. You're not saying, thank you for walking me to my car, or thanks for checking the locks. You're talking about emotional safety. You're saying, when I'm with you, I can relax. I can be myself. I can let my guard down. I don't have to pretend or perform or be on defense mode all the time. That's huge. That's massive. Let me tell you what this does to a guy. When you say this, he feels like he's doing something right. Not because he's trying to impress you, not because he's putting on a show, but because of who he is, his presence, his energy, the way he shows up, the way he treats you, the way he makes space for you. And men don't get told this. They get told they're funny. They get told they're successful. They get told they're good at their job. They get told they're attractive. But they don't get told they make someone feel safe. And when you're the woman who says it, you become different from everyone else. You become the woman who sees something in him that other women miss. Here's an example of how you use this. You're having a conversation with him. Maybe you're sharing something personal, something you're worried about or stressed about or scared of. And he listens. He doesn't try to fix it right away. He doesn't dismiss it. He doesn't minimize it. He just listens. He's present. He's there with you. After that moment, you say, thank you for that. You make me feel really safe, like I can say anything and it's okay, like I don't have to filter myself or worry about being judged. Watch what happens. His whole body language will change. He'll sit up a little straighter. He'll look at you differently. His eyes will soften because you just told him he's good at something that matters, something real, something that can't be faked or bought or performed. And here's the thing. When a man feels like he's a safe space for you, he becomes protective of that. He wants to keep being that for you. He wants to maintain that space because it makes him feel needed in a way that's healthy, in a way that's about who he is, not what he does. Number 3, I feel like I can be myself around you. This one's powerful because it flips the script. Most women are trying to impress the guy, trying to be perfect, trying to say the right things and look the right way and act the right way. They're putting on a performance. And guys can feel that. They can feel when you're trying too hard, when you're not being real, when you're wearing a mask. But when you say, I feel like I can be myself around you, you're telling him he doesn't make you feel like you have to perform. You're telling him that his presence is comfortable, that he's easy to be around, that you don't feel pressure to be anyone other than who you actually are. And that's rare, super rare. Think about it. How many people in your life make you feel like you can just be, no judgment, no pressure? No expectations, no need to impress, just you. Your real, authentic, sometimes messy self. Not many, right? Maybe a handful of close friends, maybe family, but not many. Same for men. Men are performing all the time. At work, with friends, with family, even on dates. They're trying to be impressive, trying to be funny, trying to be confident, trying to be the version of themselves they think women want. And when you tell him this, you're also doing something else. You're giving him permission to be himself too. You're creating this space where both of you can drop the act, where you can be real with each other, where vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a strength. Let me explain why this creates attraction. When people feel like they can be themselves around someone, they relax. And when they relax, they open up. And when they open up, connection happens, real connection. Not the surface level stuff that fades after a few weeks. Here's how this looks in real life. You're with him and you do something a little goofy, or you say something without thinking it through first, or you laugh too loud, or you're just being your normal, unfiltered self, the version of you that your best friend sees. And instead of feeling embarrassed or worried about what he thinks, you smile and say, I don't know why, but I feel like I can just be myself around you. It's nice, it's rare. He's going to feel that, and he's going to associate being with you with feeling comfortable, with feeling at ease, with not having to try so hard. And guys want more of that. We crave it. We want to be around people who let us breathe, who let us be human, who don't require us to be on all the time. And when you're that person for him, when you're the person he can be real with, you become someone he doesn't want to lose, because people like that are hard to find. Number 4. You're really good at making people feel comfortable. Okay, this one's sneaky, because you're not complimenting him directly. You're not saying you're good looking or you're smart or you're successful. You're complimenting his effect on other people. And that does something different in his brain, something more powerful. See, when you compliment a guy on his looks or his success, he knows you're trying to make him feel good. He knows that's the point. And sure, it works on some level. He appreciates it, but it doesn't go deep. It doesn't stick. But when you compliment him on how he makes other people feel, that's an observation. That's you noticing something about his character, about who he is as a person, about how he moves through the world. And that's different. That's not something he can control or manufacture. That's just him. And men want to be seen for their character. They really do. They just don't know how to ask for it. They don't know how to say, hey, notice the good things about who I am, not just what I have or how I look. Let me give you a situation. You're at a party or a dinner or out with friends or meeting his friends for the first time, and you notice how he talks to people, how he makes them laugh, how he asks questions and actually listens to the answers, how people seem relaxed around him, how the bartender smiles when he orders, how the waiter jokes with him, how his friends light up when they talk to him. Later, when you're alone, you say to him, I noticed something tonight. You're really good at making people feel comfortable. Like everyone just seemed so at ease talking to you. It's a gift. He's going to light up because you saw something that most people don't comment on. You saw his social skills, his emotional intelligence, the way he treats people. And that matters to him more than you think. Way more than you being impressed by his car or his job title. Plus, here's the bonus. When you say this, you're also showing him that you pay attention, that you notice details, that you see beyond the surface, that you're not just focused on him when he's focused on you. You're watching how he is with the world. And that makes you interesting to him because he's thinking, what else does she notice about me? What else does she see that I don't even realize I'm doing? Number 5, I trust your judgment. Men need to feel trusted. Not just liked, not just wanted, not just desired, trusted. And when you tell a man you trust his judgment, you're giving him something powerful, something that goes straight to his sense of self-worth. Because think about what this means. You're saying, I value your opinion. I believe in your ability to make good decisions. I respect your thinking. I think you're wise. I think you see things clearly. I think your perspective matters. All of that wrapped up in 4 simple words. And most women don't say this. They might ask for his opinion. Sure, what do you think about this? Or should I do this or that? But they don't tell him they trust it. There's a difference, a big difference. Asking is polite. Saying you trust his judgment is respect. Here's how you use this. He gives you advice on something. Could be anything, work stuff, friend drama, family issues, a decision you're trying to make, life stuff. And his advice is actually helpful. It's thoughtful. It's smart. It's not just him trying to fix things or tell you what to do. It's genuine guidance. Instead of just saying thanks or good idea or I'll think about it, you say, I'm going to do that. I trust your judgment on this. Or maybe you're making a decision together, where to eat, what movie to watch, what to do this weekend, whatever. And you say, you pick, I trust your judgment. That phrase, I trust your judgment, it makes him feel capable. It makes him feel like you see him as someone solid, someone reliable, someone whose thoughts matter, someone who's not just there to look good or be fun, someone who adds real value to your life. And when a man feels that from you, he starts to see you as someone he can build something with. Because trust is the foundation of everything real, everything that lasts. You can be attracted to someone without trusting them, but you can't build a life with someone you don't trust. So when you say this, you're not just complimenting him, you're showing him that you're someone who values substance, who values depth, who values the things that actually matter in a relationship. Number 6, you have really good energy. This might sound simple, but stick with me. When you tell a man he has good energy, you're complimenting something he can't fake. You can fake confidence, you can fake success, you can even fake charm for a little while, but you can't fake energy. You either have it or you don't. It's who you are, not what you do. And men don't think about their energy. They think about their actions, their accomplishments, their words, the things they say and do. But energy, That's underneath all of it. That's the vibe they give off without trying. That's the feeling people get when they're around them. So when you say this, you're telling him something about himself that he probably doesn't even realize. You're making him aware of his own presence. And that's powerful because most people go through life not knowing what their energy feels like to others. Let me show you how this works. You're with him and you just feel good. He's not doing anything specific. He's not trying to entertain you or impress you. He's just being himself. And his presence makes you feel lighter, more positive, more alive, more relaxed, more happy. You say to him, you know what? You have really good energy. Like, I always feel better when I'm around you. That second part is key. I always feel better when I'm around you. Because now you're not just commenting on his energy, you're telling him what his energy does to you, how it affects you, how it changes your state. And that makes it personal. That makes it about the connection between the two of you. When a guy hears this, he starts to realize that just being himself is enough. He doesn't have to try so hard. He doesn't have to perform. He doesn't have to be on all the time. His natural way of being is attractive to you. His default setting is appealing. And that's a relief. That's freedom. Because trying to impress someone all the time is exhausting. But being yourself and having that be enough, that's where real connection lives. And when he feels free around you, when he feels like his natural energy is appreciated, that's when he wants to keep coming back. Because you're easy to be with. You're not demanding a performance. You're just enjoying who he is. Number 7, you actually listen. Here's something that's going to surprise you. Most men don't feel heard. Yeah, I know. You're thinking, men dominate conversations. Men interrupt. Men talk over people. How do they not feel heard? But there's a difference between talking and being heard. There's a difference between speaking and being understood. Men talk about facts, about things they did, about problems they solved, about plans they made, about ideas they have. But they don't often talk about how they feel, about what's really going on inside, about what worries them or scares them or confuses them. And when they do, most people don't really listen. They wait for their turn to talk, or they try to fix it, or they change the subject, or they dismiss it. But when you say you actually listen, you're reversing the script. You're acknowledging something he does that's rare. And you're also showing him that you notice effort. You notice care. You notice when someone's paying attention. Here's how this plays out. You're talking to him about something that matters to you. Could be something you're excited about, something you're worried about, something you're confused about. Doesn't matter. The point is, it matters to you. And he's not on his phone. He's not distracted. He's not looking around the room. He's looking at you, asking questions, really engaged, present. After the conversation, you say, thank you for that. You actually listen, like really listen. Most people don't do that. Most people are just waiting for their turn to talk. But you're actually here. 2 things happen when you say this. First, he feels appreciated. He feels like the effort he put into listening actually mattered, like it was noticed, like it meant something. Second, he's going to keep doing it because you just reinforced behavior that makes you feel, and men want to make you feel good when they care about you. They want to be the person you appreciate, the person you value. Plus, here's the thing. When you tell a man he's good at listening, you're telling him he's emotionally intelligent. You're telling him he's mature. You're telling him he's the kind of person who makes space for others, who cares about what other people think and feel, who doesn't just make everything about himself. And those are the compliments that actually mean something. Those are the compliments that make him feel like you see his character, not just his surface. Number 8, I'm really glad I met you. This is the simplest one, but it might be the most powerful because it's pure, it's honest, it's not trying to be clever or strategic or manipulative. It's just true. When you say, I'm really glad I met you, you're telling him that knowing him has added something to your life, that he matters, that meeting him wasn't just another random encounter that you'll forget about in a week. It meant something. He means something. And men don't hear this enough. They hear, I like you, or you're great, or let's hang out again, or I had fun. But I'm really glad I met you. That's different. That's gratitude. That's acknowledgement. That's saying, my life is better because you're in it. Knowing you has changed something for me. Let me tell you when to use this. Don't say it after the first date. Don't say it too early. Don't use it as a way to try to lock him down or make him feel obligated to you. Say it when you mean it. When you've spent enough time with him that you actually feel it, that you can actually look back and think, yeah, I'm glad this person is in my life. Could be after a few weeks, could be after a few months, doesn't matter. What matters is that it's genuine, that it's real, that when you say it, he can feel that you mean it. You could be having a quiet moment together, or finishing a really good conversation, or saying goodbye after a great day, or just sitting there in comfortable silence, and you just say it. Simple, direct, no big build-up. I'm really glad I met you. Watch his face when you say it. Really watch. You'll see something shift. You'll see his guard come down a little. You'll see vulnerability in his eyes, because you just made him feel significant, not because of what he has or what he does or what he looks like, but because of who he is, because of the impact he's had on your life just by being himself. And that's what all 8 of these compliments have in common. They make a man feel seen for who he is, not for what he looks like, not for what he's accomplished, not for what he owns, but for his character, his mind, his presence, his energy, his way of being in the world. Now, here's what I need you to understand. These compliments work because they're specific. They're real. They're about things that actually matter. When you use them, you're not blowing smoke. You're not being generic. You're not saying what you think he wants to hear. You're pointing out real things you've noticed about him, real qualities, real traits, real aspects of who he is. And that's what creates attraction, not flattery, not surface level validation, not telling him he's hot or successful, but genuine recognition of who someone is. Seeing them, really seeing them, and reflecting that back to them in a way that makes them feel understood. So let me ask you something. When's the last time you complimented a man on something that wasn't his appearance or his success? When's the last time you told him something that made him feel truly seen? Something that made him feel like you were paying attention to who he actually is? If you can't remember, that's okay. Most women can't, because we've been trained to compliment the wrong things. We've been told that men want to hear about their looks and their achievements, and sure, those things are nice, but they don't create the kind of attraction that lasts.